Hello and welcome to Merlin's Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building, where we talk about set updates, new sets from all the major brands, new LEGO ideas entries, and general industry news from time to time as well. Information presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. Alright, let's get started. We have a ton of interesting stuff to talk about, so we will start in alphabetical order through all the brands, and of course in the beginning it's always BlueBrixx. So they have a couple of very interesting announcements, I think. First of all, a Christmas bakery. Yes, it is the time, right? All the calendars are already out from LEGO, or the Christmas sets, so all the other brands are jumping on the train as well. So from BlueBrixx, we have the 105286. That's a Christmas bakery, 1,679 pieces, and I assume it's going to be available for the holidays this year. Actually, this set is pretty similar to the gingerbread house from Xingbao, the 18021, and I actually do think usually the BlueBrixx Pro sets are manufactured by Xingbao, so I guess those two sets are closely related, which I think is a good news because they are similar and I guess you can run them pretty well together. I do not have pricing yet, as always. BlueBrixx, when they announce new sets, they usually or always or never say us the expected pricing. However, the original Xingbao set was $60. However, it has, I think, 200 pieces less than the Christmas bakery, so I do expect maybe that's going to be around, I don't know, $70 to $80. That's my currently expectation. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how well they fit together. For me personally, I think it's a pretty nice design. Obviously, you will have Xingbao minifigures part of the set as well, 3 actually. So let's see how this one is going to look like. Then we have the Christmas tree music box from BlueBrixx. That's a 105287, 956 pieces. And I think it has a mechanical motor or a mechanical device too, so it's not an electric one or with Bluetooth or anything like that, which we have seen in the past as well. I think there are a couple of Chinese brands doing these kind of sets, but these seems, and you can see this right now for those of you watching on YouTube, it has a mechanical device both to, I guess, spin the tree or spin the train that goes around the tree. I'm not 100% sure, and of course is going to play the music or the melody. Quite beautiful. Actually, my personal favorite of this Christmas wave from BlueBrixx is the 105389, the Nativity Play, 1,515 pieces. And it's quite a beauty, I think. I mean, it has all these Xingbao minifigures. I mean, in general, I'm not the biggest fan of the Xingbao minifigures because they are slightly bigger than the LEGO ones, which as a result means that usually they do not fit with minifigure scale sets very well. So the set needs to be designed for them because they are bigger. Plus, of course, the Xingbao minifigures, I mean, you don't have the system that comes with the LEGO minifigures. However, in this specific case, where you have like a closed set in a closed scene for this specific time of the year, I think it's fine because you will not integrate this one usually in a bigger scene, and you have no need to combine this set or these figures with a broader landscape and with lots of LEGO minifigures. So from my point of view, that is fine. What is also nice, I think this is the first time I've seen this from a Xingbao based set. I mean, and again, I mean, as I said before, BlueBrixx Pro sets are usually manufactured by Xingbao, and the Xingbao minifigures are usually what BlueBrixx puts in their Pro sets. But nevertheless, so what is nice here, and this is the first time I see this with a Xingbao based set, is that the minifigures also have all the cloak, which is quite nice. And all in all, I think it's a pretty beautiful design. You have the tree, you have the house, all the brick-built animals, which is a nice touch. You have the wagon, all the camels, actually quite nice. So all in all, I think quite a beautiful setup. I do intend to build this one. So let's see, 1,515 pieces. And I think quite an interesting set for the holidays. With that comes another one. So this one is interesting. I think BlueBrixx forgot to announce it, which is because that is usually not how it works. So we immediately got the new set. We have never heard about it before. I think BlueBrixx mention it on their own YouTube channel, which is obviously in German. It's a German brand. So I think they mentioned it once, but they have never shown it on their website. So this one is a kind of announcement, but it's like available from day one. We are talking about the 104863, the Rialto Bridge from Venice, or Ponte di Rialto, I guess. I don't know if that is correctly pronounced, from Venice. It's a 48 meter long bridge. It's 22 meters width. So what BlueBrixx created out of this was a set that is 40 by 51 centimeters and 18 centimeters high. I think it's one of the most well-known bridges over here in Europe. I guess it cannot compete with the Golden Gate Bridge, but nevertheless, it is quite famous. It's one of the most famous building in Venice. And yeah, BlueBrixx created this set out of it with 4,153 pieces, actually. So you have 2 gondolas, or 2 boats, typical Venice style. You have the bridge. I mean, obviously, I think you can see this here on the second picture for those of you watching on YouTube. I mean, the Rialto Bridge, I mean, it's a beautiful bridge. However, most of these arches, yes, are closed with like black painted wood, which I think looks okay in the original. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this look. If you look at the set, right, you have all of this closed with like black bricks. So I think it is correct the way the bridge looks nowadays. I'm personally not 1% sure if it has always looked like this. I assumed that originally these black wood doors are not here. So I assume the shops were open to both sides that were under the arches, but I don't know. So from my point of view, I would have maybe tried to look a bit more in the past and see if I could come up with a design or with a potential look without these black closings. But that's just me. Nevertheless, quite a beautiful set. 200 euro, or 200 euros. That is, and as always in Europe, includes tax for the international audience. I do assume you can buy this one within the European Union at least. All right, then we have an availability of a set I think many people have been waiting for, the Willis Tower from BlueBrixx, the 104785, 4,680 pieces. It is 107 centimeters high, so it's quite a gigantic set, actually, more than a meter. It is 31 by 26 centimeters, so it's like a modular building. However, it is, as I said, more than a meter. And yes, you need almost 4,700 pieces. It's black, and you have all these grills. I think, I'm not 1% sure, I haven't counted yet, but I assume it's more like 2,000 or 3,000 of the pieces in the set are actually these grills. And so personally, I do believe I actually started building this yesterday, so I have it already here. I want to build it, and on my German channel, I will also do a review. Yeah, so the building experience is not the best, obviously, because you spend the majority of your time putting these grills on, but the look is quite nice, actually quite beautiful. What I can say at this point, the only thing I regret a bit, that all of these grills are put on black plates, which is fine. It's a nice look. However, if BlueBrixx would have instead used like trans black plates as a background, then you could very easily enlighten the building, because it's basically inside you have like a basic technical structure, if you will, and then you put all these plates on, so it would be extremely easy to put lighting in the set, and I think it could look quite beautiful. I mean, I have no idea, I couldn't test it, of course, but this is, I think, a missed opportunity here by BlueBrixx. But nevertheless, I think all in all, it's quite interesting. It's fascinating. But yeah, keep in mind the building experience is kind of restricted. Anyhow, it is the first true architecture set in the BlueBrixx Special Series, which I personally like a lot. So the BlueBrixx Special Series is something that BlueBrixx is doing on their own. Like the Pro sets are usually giving to manufacturers like Xingbao. The Special Series is what they do themselves. And you have I think they have a pretty good price piece ratio. So in this case, 180 euros, again, including tax, that's 3.8 cents per piece. That is quite low because you usually don't get a very simple packaging and you get only digital manuals and no paper manual. However, I really like this series, and this is the first true architecture set. So they have hired a new designer a couple of months ago, and as you can see, he is basically the architecture guy. So you have the Burj Khalifa, which is actually, I think, almost 2 meters high, so that's even bigger. So that got available as well. I will talk about it next week in a bit more detail, but as you can see here, you have the Rockefeller Center, but you have also a lot of European architecture sets coming from this designer. However, at this point in time, it's just announcements. We do not have that much more available. But anyhow, I'm really looking forward to many of these sets. What is available, though, is the 104699. That's the black tow truck, 60 euros, 4.3 cents per piece, because it is 1,395 pieces. For 60 euros, I think it's quite a nice truck. I mean, of course, it's a lot of black, but I guess that's the idea, calling it the black tow truck. And yeah, I think it's like, how many studs wide? I would say maybe 12 studs, I guess, right? We have four, no, maybe it's just 10. Maybe where I'm miscounting. So this is 4. Maybe this is just 1 stud. I'm not 1% sure right now, but I think it should be 10 or 12 studs wide. Yeah, quite a nice vehicle. It is 35 centimeters long, 15 width, and 15 height. All right, with that comes the asphalt paver. I'm not sure if I pronounce this correctly. The 104895, 542 pieces by the designer Eugen. It is 17.5 centimeters long, 11 width, and 8.5 height. It's 26 euros. Yeah, I think these construction vehicles, BlueBrixx has done an entire series on this one. So if you're interested, just look on ztb.org and then go to brands, BlueBrixx, and then you can find all of them. Yeah, it's another vehicle in this series, and I think for those of you who want to build in your city a big construction site, I think these things will come in handy. Then we have another picture frame. This time it's the birthday theme one. It's the 104801. I think talked already last week about one of those. I think they have 4 or 5 nowadays. Designed by Marco. It is 22 by 17 centimeters, and it has also 7.5 steps depth, because I think you can put those on a shelf as well. I think, yeah, you can put them on the wall or on the shelf, and then of course you have these 7.5 centimeters. It's 16 euros, and that makes it 5.1 cents a piece. And then, and with that we will come to an end with BlueBrixx. We have the municipal multi-purpose vehicle. So that's, I think over here in Europe we call these Unimorks. They are from Mercedes trucks. Obviously BlueBrixx doesn't have a contract with Mercedes, so that's, I guess, why they just gave this vehicle this neutral name. Anyhow, it has 536 pieces, 26 euros. That's 4.8 cents a piece. Designed by Niklas, I think, and a designer that so far has only done 2 sets for BlueBrixx. So let's see if we are going to see more going forward. And it is 21 centimeters by 12 and 9.3 height. And it has, as you can see, like from lawn mowing, I don't know, for all the different purposes that municipals usually have, keeping our roads clean and tidy. I guess that is the objective. I actually have no idea how they came to the 21 centimeters in length. I guess it is with some of the utilities attached. I think the vehicle itself, it's roughly 6 studs wide, plus a little bit, I think the wheels go a bit over, so maybe an 8 stud vehicle from that point of view. So I guess usually those don't have that length. All right, that is BlueBrixx. With that, we are coming to Cobi. So Cobi has the new catalog out, the catalog 2 for 2022, my apologies. And there's a couple of new interesting vehicles in there. And one is, of course, the Opel Rekord CQP. So Opel, that's basically GM, or has been back in the day. Nowadays, I think Opel is part of Stellantis, I think, but back in the day was part of GM, like the European branch of General Motors. And Opel Record C, so that's a vehicle that was built between 1966 and 1972, coming in between the Opel Record B and D. I think it's a very well-known vehicle over here in Europe, manufactured in Germany back in the day. I mean, or Opel was originally, before being acquired by GM, was a German brand. Anyhow, so we are talking about 2 editions, the 24344, the executive edition. So usually the executive edition has a few more details than the standard edition, plus in case of the 1 to 12 scale vehicles, it's also the stand that is part of that. So without the stand, that's then the standard edition, which means 230 pieces less. It's the 24345. The vehicle is in red. I'm not 100% sure if so. My assumption is that based on these pictures that Cobi posted here on Instagram, is that the executive edition also has a black roof, while the standard edition has a red one. As I said, sometimes there are slight changes between the 2 editions. Usually also the executive edition has a few more prints. Sometimes, yeah, actually right now I don't see a big difference, but if you look, for instance, at the Opel Manta, the executive edition had additional lights. With the MC20, the Maserati, I think there was also a difference in the wheels and brakes. I think had different colors, but I think the main difference is the stand. Anyhow, this thing is going to be premiered in November. Usually with Cobi, the executive edition comes first, and then 2 to 3, maybe sometimes 4 weeks later, the standard edition is going to enter the market. Another vehicle in this scale that they announced is the Skoda Octavia 4 RS. And that is the 24342. I assume that's the executive edition. They have not yet announced, at least not on Instagram, without any or with including pictures. They have not yet shown the standard edition. Anyhow, what we see here is the executive edition, again with the stand, and it has 2,520 pieces. So personally, I'm not a big fan of Skoda or Skoda Octavia. It's not the kind of model I would build, but I think the Opel Record one is quite interesting, and I think I will take a look at it. Then we have several announcements that they have done around the new collaboration that they do with Relic Entertainment around the Company of Heroes 3 brand. So first thing is the 8.8 centimeter Flak. That's a German anti-aircraft gun. However, technically it is an anti-aircraft gun, but one of the special things around this specific piece is that it was also used by the German Wehrmacht during the Second World War for anti-tank warfare as well. Anyhow, we are talking about the 3047 here, 225 pieces, includes a minifig, so it's scale 1:35. That's usually from Cobi, the minifigure scale. Military equipment. Then they also have a tank as part of this announcement. We are talking about Panzer IV in the version G, again from the German Wehrmacht, 3045, 610 pieces. 1 minifig, and again minifig scale 1:35. My assumption is that this is most and foremost based on, I mean, Panzer IV is something that Cobi has done, I don't know, literally a dozen or maybe even more of those in the past years. Obviously quite an important tank in the whole Second World War theme. That makes a ton of sense. My guess is, and one of the last ones around Panzer IV has been the Panzer IV, the anti-aircraft version, Wirbelwind. So my guess is that the chassis that we are going to see on this specific version will depend on this one. And we are talking here about the 2547. So my guess is that this new version, oh sorry, that was the wrong picture, that this new version, yeah, of course it has a different, I mean, it has a cannon, it's not anti-aircraft, it's a battle tank, but I assume the chassis will be more or less the same from this last version. But of course, Cobi has a wide range of Panzer IV they could build this upon. Anyhow, then there's the third set coming as part of the series, and that is the 3041, 60 pieces. It's a minifig pack or battle pack, if you might call it that, 4 minifigures, and of course same scale. Actually, they also, however, I do not have pictures yet, but they also announced a bunker as part of this collaboration with Company of Heroes. So hopefully I have a couple of pictures ready for the show next week. With that, we are coming from Cobi to F for Forange, Chinese brand, and there we have a ton of availabilities around the Dream Cottage series. The only shop I can see this right now from all my partners is again BlueBrixx. So let's see. I do hope that some of my other partners will list those as well, some of the Chinese shops, but so far I only see it here in Europe. Anyhow, we are talking about first the coffee house. That's the 8502. It has 589 pieces, and BlueBrixx is asking for 25 euros here. Actually, the entire series, it's always 25 euros. Again, Europe, that's with including tax. And then we have the flower shop, the 8501, 579 pieces. Again, same price. Then we have, I think I skipped one. I skipped the pet bookshop. So I assume it is a pet and a bookshop. I'm not 100% sure what a pet bookshop is. Anyhow, it is the A503, 640 pieces. And again, 25 euros. And then we have the residential house, which I personally think is the most beautiful one. 730 pieces. It has 2 floors, so it feels slightly bigger and it has more pieces, but again, same price. So if you're interested in these kind of small buildings, I mean, personally, I've built already a couple of those from Kada. But I assume, these fit in here quite nicely as well. I mean, Keeppley has done a lot of houses in this. So Keeppley from Enlighten, they have done a lot of these houses. So I'm a big fan of this. I think also these small houses fit quite nicely with the new street system from LEGO. So especially if you are restricted in space, by means that, okay, you do not have the space for full-blown modular buildings and a gigantic, brick-built city, but I don't know, you just have a shelf. Then, these small houses, maybe in combination with the new street system from LEGO, you might come up with a much smaller space, smaller scale, if you will, city, but at the same time you're still a minifigure scale, so you can bring in all your minifigures and your small, maybe 6 stud with cars and stuff like that. Anyhow, with that we are coming to Keeppley. There we have the Hermitage Garden. I'm not 100% sure if I pronounce this correctly. A new building, traditional Chinese style. I mean, personally, it looks for me, I mean, we have seen these kind of sets a ton from Xingbao in the past. And this look and feel, obviously, it's enlightened, so there's like a million prints in there, and they are the typical Cumin, Keeppley, enlightened minifigures in there. Actually, over here in Europe, there's a lot of, let's say, legal debate around these minifigures. Like, are they too close to LEGO? So LEGO just recently won in a German court around these minifigures, so they can't be imported into the European Union anymore that easily. But yeah, I think, make up your mind what you think. Personally, I do believe that they look very different from LEGO minifigures due to the completely different head design, especially, which is the thing that makes LEGO minifigures unique. But I think the one of the legal battles is around the shape of the body and the legs and the square shape of those. But anyhow, we have this Keeppley set. Personally, I think in this series, especially, Keeppley has done much more beautiful sets in the past, but nevertheless, I mean, this one has like a ton of functionalities. So I think it is a nice design, but this entire gigantic red building is not really my thing. So let me know in the comments what you think about it. But I'm currently building one of my very first Keeppley sets, and I must say I'm really loving the entire, let's say, package that you get. So they have very good pieces. They have like a million prints in there. It's unbelievable. Sometimes it feels like every second piece is printed. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. pretty nice bricks. I love the minifigures, so they are very nice. But obviously, Keeppley is not a very cheap brand for a Chinese brand. Anyhow, with that coming to Mork, and there is a set I think a lot of people have been waiting for, the Heya on Year Villa Modular, another also young design. So also young, for those of you who don't know him, South Korean designer, and very well known, especially for his modern architecture, modular buildings. So he's working with a lot of different brands. So in the past, he worked with Mold King. We had the art gallery, the bar, the Isolate bar. I think this is a very highly regarded set. Many people say it's the most beautiful modular building that has ever been done. Personally, I built it. I really liked it. But I'm not sure if it's the best building for me. But if you like modern architecture, for sure, his designs are just beautiful. He worked with Kada in the past, working on the coffee shop. He has also done a more traditional design with Orge, the Flying Lobster seafood restaurant. But then again, modern buildings with Mork. The 10204 was the last one, the modern villa. I built this one. It's really a beautiful design. And then there we have now the newest one, the Heya on Year. As always, if you go to settb.org, and by the way, I also have links in the show note, in the podcast show notes, or in the video description on YouTube. There you have also direct links, so you can directly go to the sites that I'm currently showing you. What I have here is also all the links if you want to know more about Also Young, all of his Rebrickable page with all his other designs, Instagram, YouTube, etc., etc. Or you just go on his designer name, and then you can see the view that I just showed with all of the designs of his by means of sets that you can actually buy. And then, of course, you have also a direct link to the original mock that he licensed to Mork. In general, I think it's quite a beautiful design, a modern Bauhaus kind of architecture. I really like this, and I'm definitely going to build it. So let's see. Looking forward to the set. It's going to cost, right now, we have one Chinese shop by Weir, and they want to have, and I think, I'm not sure, I think this is with shipping to the US. Just go to the Weir website, select your country where you want to have it shipped to. As always, don't forget, there is a discount code that you can find here as well. But without discount, I think including shipping to the US, it's currently 122 bucks US. All right, with that coming to the flower shop, this is at this point in time just an announcement. The 31061, 1593 pieces. I do like the design. It seems it does include lighting. It is like a little bit in the middle, I would say. Like it's slightly bigger than the small buildings I talked about before, but it's still definitely not modular building a full size. Nevertheless, it is definitely minifigure scale, I would say, and should fit into any brick city. And as you can see here, it includes lights. From the same series, they announced the 31063, the ecological park. Not 100% sure what this is going to be, but anyhow, it's actually, I think I prefer even this one compared to the other one. I do really like this design, the tan coloring on the brick build part, and then of course all the windows look quite nice as well. Includes again lighting, minifigure scale, quite beautiful. A lot of flowers around, a lot of even a bird. Quite a nice design. Then they also announced a battle tank, a Leopard 2 German battle tank, the 27001. I don't know the amount of pieces. It's a relatively new set. In general, I do believe that if you're interested in this kind of set, like battle tanks, quite frankly, I think just go with Cobi. they are making so amazing sets that personally I wouldn't go with Mork. Nevertheless, this one is 36 centimeters in length, 15 centimeters wide, and 18 centimeters high. Then we have a couple of announcements or availabilities from Sembo, from the Technique series that they have, the flatbed tow truck. I will go through those quite briefly. The 709-800, 785 pieces, and at least over here in Europe, including tax, you're going to pay 45 euros for it. It's 28 centimeters in length, 12.5 width and 12 height. Personally, I do like these sets. I've never built Sembo Technic, so I can't talk about the quality of the pieces, but nevertheless, it's a good looking set actually, and I do like the scale. They are not that as big as many other Technic sets are. Then we have from the same series the all-terrain tow truck, the 720940, 1135 pieces, and over here in Europe it's 65 euros. This one I like even more. I mean, you have to get used to the colors I get. I mean, it's quite extreme, right? This bright or strong green, it's standard brick green, and red, of course, is a strong combination. I guess this dark green would maybe look a bit more, I don't know, not as much in your face as this one is. Anyhow, this one is 35 centimeters long, 13.5 width, and 15 heights. And then my personal favorite from the Technic series. However, this is not entirely true. This is more like a system build vehicle with some Technic in the center, I guess, to build the structure. And that is the car with trailer. I mean, obviously they can't call it out, but for me, that's a Volkswagen Beetle. And it has 1,409 pieces. And over here in Europe, it is listed for 80 euros. And again, that includes tax. All in all, it's 43 centimeters long, 10 width, 14, no, also 10 heights, due to the trailer with the motorcycle. With that, we are coming to Wange, also Chinese brand and very well known and regarded for their architecture sets. And here we have an interesting one. So again, BlueBrixx, European shop is, I guess, I don't know, they are selling at this extremely cheap. So it's 2,912 pieces for just 65 euros. That's around 2 cents a piece. My guess is that BlueBrixx found like a bunch of those because it's not a new set. None of the shops I'm working with has listed it or has ever listed this one, but the Yellow Crane Tower, I think it's already an older set. We're talking about the 6214, so my guess is like BlueBrixx was able to acquire a bunch of those in China and is now importing them into the European Union, and they can sell them for this very cheap price. So if you're interested in lots of pieces from Wange or interested in the Yellow Crane Tower, which by the way was built originally in 223 AD. It has been destroyed several times. The current version that you will find in China has been built in 1985. It is a wooden structure, so I guess that's the reason why it was destroyed several times since the original build. So this one is based on pictures from the Qing dynasty. Anyhow, it has 5 floors, is 551 meters high, and yeah, it's I think quite a nice and beautiful building, and 3,000 pieces for 65 euros. That's crazy. But anyhow, if you're interested in these kind of sets, I think this is a good one. There's another one, the Pavilion of Prince Teng in Nanchang, China, 2,798 pieces. We are talking about the 7212 set, and this is 130 euros. That's what I would usually expect from these kind of buildings. So long story short, the 6214 is half the price of what it usually should be. Nevertheless, from the coloring perspective, this one with the dark green roofs, I personally would prefer, but again, the yellow one, the price speaks for itself. Then we have the Shaolin Temple from Henan, Zhengzhou, and I do apologize, by the way. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing all of these completely wrong. Anyhow, we are talking about the 6227, 1,526 pieces. In Europe, it's 90 euros. Again, what I would expect from a Wange set. And this one is, I think, yeah, it's 40 by 51 centimeters, as always with Wange set or Wange architecture sets. It's on these gray plates that they use, which I'm personally not a big fan of, both from a optical standpoint as well as to build on them. So I have built a Wange set, and I think that building on these, that is not much fun because they are They are not very stiff, to say the least. So building on them feels very wobbly. But anyhow, of course, they make the set look a lot bigger. And as always, if you look at these plate here, this printed tile, I think this is typical standard with all the Wange sets that they have, architecture sets, that they have this printed tile as part of the package. And then last but not least, we are coming to Xingbao. There we have a new building, the China style urban village, the 1037. There's already a review out. Break Me Up Scotty has looked at it, as always, on ZTP.org. If one of the main YouTube channels, blogs, etc. has done a review, you will automatically find this in here as well. The same as all the other information that I usually talk about, as well as if you have digital manuals or instructions available online, I link them in the ZTP as well. Anyhow, this one is already listed by one of my partners for $128 US, and I do not have the amount of pieces, but my guess is that we are above 2,000. To me, it looks like it's typical modular building in size, including even the Technic pin connection, so that you could connect it to your other modular buildings, including those from LEGO. It includes minifigures. These are the traditional or the original Xingbao minifigures. I think you can't get these over here in Europe, but of course you can buy from a Chinese shop. Anyhow, I think, yeah, it's a modular building, lots of modules actually. Second floor is 2 modules, and then first and third floor is just 1 module. And yeah, Chinese architecture, like the name says. All right, this is it for this week. From a technical point of view, I think the podcast version, the audio only version, is already listed on Apple Podcast, Amazon, and Google, I think. I have some struggle with Spotify. I'm still working on that, but I do hope that the podcast feed is available on all the main platforms very soon. If not, if you're interested in the audio piece and you're a Spotify user, you can also go to my website, merlinsbrixx.com. Just go on the website for the episode, and there you can directly play it. And with that, I hope you liked the show. For those of you who watch this on YouTube, please leave a like or comment, or even better, subscribe to the channel to get updates for new episodes. For you podcast listeners, please leave a review, comment, or like on Apple Podcast. Going forward, hopefully Spotify or wherever you listen to the show. Thanks for listening. See you next week.